toddler screams every time they don't get what they want, then they need to learn self-control, which they can begin to learn at the age of like 1.5 to 2 years old. If you have a school-age kid who likes to roll their eyes, slam doors, throw things, punch, hit, whatever, then there are some life skills for that child to learn. If you have a teenager who likes to slam doors, run away from home, like whatever it is, there are life skills for your child to learn. And we're going to teach you the 3 steps to teaching anything and everything. Moms and dads, good morning. Are you sick of like timeouts and takeaways, trying to get your children to behave and listen to your, instructions, listen to your requests? Like, hey guys, we got to get out the door on time. They're running around in circles and it's like, oh gosh, like what do you do? What tools can you use when your kids are completely out of control? We have a group called Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids. Chances are you are in that group. When you join our group, you get community. You get invitations to join us live in the room. You can share comments, observations. You can ask questions. You can have coaching opportunities within our group. If you're watching this on YouTube or outside of our group and you want access to today's PDF, the replay, and coaching opportunities, make sure to put a comment underneath in the video so we can invite you into our amazing group with life-changing parenting. Thomas and I have a combined experience of more than 60 years in personal development. We are, I want to say, controversial parenting because we're doing the opposite of anything that you've ever heard of in parenting before. Since the beginning of time, it's been kind of like a child does something the parent doesn't like and they get punished, making the child the cause in the universal truth of cause and effect. Well, what if you were the cause? What if you were in complete control of the environment that your child is learning and growing up in? And what if they're screaming, crying, temper tantrums, things that we would deem as poor behavior was the effect of the cause? So you could just make a few changes and everything in your home would change from chaos to order, from disharmony to harmony, from what we call poor behavior would become the most cooperative, outstanding, amazing children in the world. What if all that were true? So this might be new to you. So I just ask that you have an open mind. And I also want to just make sure that you're very aware. We're going to do the best that we can do to teach you everything we can in these lives every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. But underneath these live trainings and the little bit of coaching and support that you get, we have a complete program that we call a 1-year mentorship program. And if you could look, this is just module 1. All of the video, all of the audios, all of the weekly coaching calls that take you through the program, mindset training, parents' brain versus kid brain, module 2, module 3. So there's 12 modules and 12 principles that we follow here with Creating Champions for Life. We've also included a 10-day boot camp for a second level of mentorship. Anyway, my point here is not to sell you, but just to let you know that we do have a program so that if you're loving what we're sharing, but you're having trouble implementing, it might be something for you to explore. So Thomas, can you come off of mute and let's talk about what it means to get kids to listen and behave? What comes to your mind before we get into the 3 steps really quickly?
Yeah, good morning. And I'll tell you what, I love Bonnie's dream to have every parent in the world at least know that this exists. And we're going to make that happen. And I support her 100%.
Well, let me clarify what my dream is. My dream is that every child in the world know their greatness before the age of 12. I've had this dream since 1994 when I was 21 years old and I read a book called Think and Grow Rich. I'm a grade 10 high school dropout. I had a baby at 16. I've been kicked out of my house as a teenager, used to sleep underneath the stairs of the apartment building. I did all sorts of stupid, rebellious things because when I was a teenager, I thought I was unworthy. And I was constantly getting yelled at, constantly in trouble, never good enough for my parents. And so when I saw that there were certain principles to success, my first thought, my vision was to run over to my dad's house and tell him, Dad, I don't know how, but I'm going to find a way to empower all the kids. And he went, well, that's nice, dear. And then I spent 18 years in personal development. And in 2011, I met my husband here, Thomas, and had no idea he knew anything about kids until 4 months later when I saw him with my kids. And it was like, it was almost a divine, well, not almost, it was a divine connection when you know our entire story and everything else. But when I saw Thomas speak to my kids, it was different than anything I'd ever seen before. It matched everything I'd ever learned in 18 years of leadership and personal development. And I watched my kids completely transform. So sorry to cut you off, but when I figured it out, I was like, every mom in the world deserves to know this, but the dream is that every child know their greatness.
We've always been asking the how-to steps, and many parents out there have been searching, praying, wishing, hoping for answers that have been, as Bonnie puts it, crying themselves to sleep, going, there's got to be a way. And I got to tip my hat to the moms of the world. You've been trained to be the be-all, do-all, and my goodness, I wouldn't call it a sick joke, but I'm going to call it a sick joke. That you have been trained and conditioned to become a good mom. You must be all do all for your kids. And it's like watching moms run a decathlon, like 12 events. It contradicts everything in Mother Nature's pattern. You're not supposed to do everything for you, but you find yourself doing that. And if you don't, you've been shamed in being you're not a good mom. And if you do these things, you are a good mom. So you've been asking for how to get kids to listen and behave. Let's take a moment here, Bonnie, and let's look at the word behave. Of course they listen. I mean, they hear you. But when we talk about the behavior part, is it something that you want them to behave a certain way? Or do you think there might be a window that we misinterpret the behavior that they're really just saying, when do I get a turn?
Okay, let's really think about what it means. I want my kids to behave, which means I want my kids to listen to me and do everything I say without question, without feelings, without thoughts or anything. And I just want to point out that like kids aren't like spiders, right? They're not born knowing how the world works and then going out of their way to misbehave to tick us off somehow. And then we've got to like punish them into compliance. Kids are born without any idea of how the world works. And so when you've got your little 18-month-old or your little toddler and they're getting into your makeup and they're wrecking it, like you go in, they've got lipstick all over their face and they've wrecked all your eyeshadow. It's all over the bottom of the sink. It's just powder now. And it's really easy to think that's so naughty. But like, honestly, I'm going to cry, like just thinking about this, because now that you're looking at it through different lenses, you can go, oh, my toddler just has no idea how the world works. My toddler sees me putting on makeup every day and wants to be just like me. And it's our job to teach them the life skills they need so that they can grow up and duplicate us and you and be just like you. So I just wanted to say, like, when we're looking at our kids and we want them to just behave, what does that actually mean?
So very well said, Bonnie. And you let those tears of joy just roll because they are a good thing when you begin to have these breakthroughs. And I'm just going to bring it up on the big screen here so you can see. Bonnie made an amazing point. What if we could just look through a lens and go, and say it with me here, Bonnie, I see something I don't like.
Yeah, I see something I don't like. My children are driving me crazy. I never get any time to myself. They won't ever listen to me and I don't know what to do. There must be something wrong with them. Let me take them to a doctor.
And then let's take the chance. And this is one of our 12 principles. It's called a reframe. It's knowing what a complaint is. because the complaint is your greatest ally when you see this, maybe for the first time. If you could switch it around and make a sound like bam, right? You see something you don't like, and then here you look through the lens and you go, oh, I see a little genius who's embracing their own uniqueness. Say it with me, Bonnie.
I see a little genius embracing their own uniqueness, and it's my job to actually show them how the world works. You doing everything also is not normal. What's normal is a 2 year old who has feelings and desires to have purpose in the home and craves responsibility and wants to learn how the world works so that they can have confidence and they can be independent and they can learn to take initiative and they can learn to have value in this world besides being the little being who, mom competing with the Joneses, and it's not your fault. So please don't take any judgment from this. We have been trained and conditioned for over 100 years now to be, do, and have everything for our children, to expect that they're supposed to listen to us just because we're the adult and they're the child, and we don't teach them any life skills at all. So, I mean, really, that's the point here that we're trying to share before we get into the 3 simple steps.
And because this is a Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kid book study group, I would really impress upon you, if you have a little Curious George in yourself, remember the book, The Man with the Yellow Hat, is to download that book. There's an audio version, so for easy listening, and understand why and how you got into this position. Because if you can see how you got here, then it allows us to be open to go from, I see something I don't like, to, I see my little genius. They're just embracing their own uniqueness. And that's the magical window where you can take these 3 steps and start teaching anything and everything. Because at the end of the day, they're asking you, as their trusted advisor, when do I get a turn? And if a child's old enough to grab a toy off the shelf and start playing, that's one of the most magical moments that 99.99989% of the population has been trained to miss, this critical window. Because if they can take it off, they're ready to complete the life cycle, which we've trained before, of play, clean, and put it back, better known as sleep. So let's jump into these 3 simple steps of teaching anything and everything.
Yes, and if you're watching this from outside our group and you're just joining us, make sure to put a comment underneath the video. We can get you the PDF and you can go through the replay, because honestly, you're not going to get everything that we say here like the first time. Repetition is the second law of learning. Today is just about awareness. And actually, Tom, can you pull up the slide from last week's live that we did? Because I just kind of want to point out, last week we shared the 6 steps to guiding your child behavior, or guiding your child behavior step by step. So if you want to go back and watch that as well. But I wanted to show you where today's lesson lies in the 6 steps. And while we're waiting, Nicole says, my daughter was licking her fingers and wiping them on the book I was reading. I was reading her because she wanted to do what I was doing, licking my finger to turn the page, but she didn't know that. I would have been annoyed if I didn't see it. Like if she wasn't aware that kids just are doing things monkey see, monkey do to be like you, and they're not going out of their way to be bad or naughty, then your whole life will change just with that awareness. All right, so if you can see, think, plan, and role play. Role play is monkey see, monkey do, or, show the life skill. So just to be aware, there's probably a couple steps before today's lesson, which is you need to think, what do you want as a parent? What do your children want? There are goals that they have, goals that you have. We've been trained that every time our kid goes, I want a doll, I want a cookie, I want some ice cream, I want that shirt. We've been trained that it's our responsibility to, jump to the pump and make it happen, while our kids are supposed to just listen to us. We're here to say that's a lie. I'm sorry. We've been lied to and duped. So we're going to think, what do you want, mom or dad? And on the next page, page 2, you're going to have an opportunity to think, what are the 3 main life skills you'd like for your child to learn right now. Then you're going to make a plan. But this is simply today how to teach a life skill, because this is a skill in a neural pathway that 99.9999989% of moms don't have. So go back to today's first page. And good morning, Colleen. And hi, Charles. Welcome. We will get you hooked up here once we're done.